If you watch my videos, you are probably familiar with Terraria modding. Most players will have their first playthrough on vanilla, then begin dipping their toes into the modded scene by playing some Calamity, maybe multiple times to discover the new class added, or rediscover the class that has been changed. After that, they might want more from modded Terraria, so they will add more mods, some adding new content related to Calamity, or adding their own content not related to anything else. But after this stage, people that still want to discover more will simply continue to add more mods, to a point where there is so much content mod added that we can begin calling what they play an ultra-modded mod pack. And that's where we arrive at kind of a breaking point that will push many players away from trying ultra-modded Terraria. Everything is disconnected. See, when you play vanilla Terraria, there is a set and clear progression. Advancing through the progression will grant you new items and materials to craft the new gear unlocked, gear that you will use to fight the next boss or access the next structure to make the progression advance. Same example applies if you play to one singular big content mod. Only difference is that the mod will add its own bits of progression to add to the existing vanilla progression. And it will always be like this. For example, when crafting a modded item, you will only need materials added by the mod or materials from vanilla Terraria. This system works great if you play with only one mod, but we can begin to see a problem if we add multiple of those content mods. Every mod will have its own sub-progression. It's not that bad if you play with a couple of them, but when you really want to play on Ultramodded, it becomes really hard to keep track of each individual progression. In the Minecraft modding scene, where it is very common to have mod packs with a huge amount of mods, such a mod pack where you just combine mods together and hopes it works is called the kitchen sink. Those mod packs let you experience the mods without any tweaks, but often do not have any theme and features a pretty confusing and disconnected progression. The end goal of those mod packs is often to craft an item needing most of the endgame materials of each mod, requiring you to finish all sub-progression of every mod. This means that when you are starting a playthrough, you can go from start to finish on one mod that you will need to complete without touching any of the other ones, then go to the other one and finish its progression, and so on. This system works for some people, but a lot were displeased by it, since the amount of sub-progressions could lead to repetition of the gameplay and a lack of challenge, since the crafts from one sub-progression could never use materials from another sub-progression. To change this, mod pack makers would tweak multiple aspects of the mods included, so instead of having multiple sub-progression, you would have one singular interconnected progression. The end goal would be the same, but to get there, you would follow the progression of the mod pack, where materials from one mod could be used to craft items from another. Now, let's relate this back to Terraria. Currently, combining multiple content mods is not recommended, as it often leads to a lot of issues. For example, one mod structure or biome could overlap with another one. And if this structure is important to the progression of one of the mods, it could lock your progression. Another major challenge involves balancing between mods, as each mod handles progression differently. For example, one mod might choose to scale down the power of its weapons and bosses, while another mod might ramp up the damage output of its weapon and significantly increase the health of its bosses as a result. This imbalance creates a really frustrating experience, as trying to defeat a boss from a high HP mod using weaker weapons from another mod would be almost impossible. But on the other hand, using overpowered weapons from one mod to fight bosses designed for weaker gear would make the fight way too easy, reinforcing the feeling that these mods were not supposed to be played together. So, what can we do about this? Well, some solutions already exist, but we'll see that they are quite limited. So let's take everything we discussed so far and make a list of things we will need to fix to make a good ultra-modded mod pack. We will need to have a singular progression using everything that every mod adds. Then, we'll need to make sure that those mods actually work together. First in a technical term, meaning that they wouldn't crash the game or cause major world generation problems when paired together, but also in terms of gameplay, making sure that the whole progression would be balanced and that gear from one mod could work when beating a boss from another mod. The main solution would be to make a compatibility mod. See, traditional mods are meant to add content to the game, but we can also make mods to modify either the original game or even modify existing mods, and that's exactly what we will do. We will take a certain amount of content mods that are not supposed to work together and modify them to make them compatible with each other. But there is still rules to the mod that we'll pick. We have to choose mods that don't add too much content, not like the spooky mod or remnants mod, which will completely change the whole world. world. So we'll have to stick to mods that only add small biomes or structure in terms of world generation. Mods like Calamity, Thorium, Mod of Redemption, Fargo Souls, Verdant, Acres, Vitality mod or Secrets of the Shadows would be perfect for us, and I think that's the mod that we'll include in the mod pack. But if you have suggestions for other mods, please let me know in the comments. And then comes the hard part, the actual development of the mod, where we'll basically need to change the progression of every mod by modifying hundreds of different crafting recipes, change multiple different crafting trees from different mods to include items and materials from other mods, balance weapons, bosses, and much more. And that's where I will need your help, because there is absolutely no way that I will be able to do this whole project alone. We will need people working together to figure out the progression, and developers to implement the changes we want into the mod. And since we will change the progression, we will need people writing everything that changed to not confuse the player that will play the mod pack. And even when be finished, we will still need playtesters to make sure that everything works well. It will be a lot of work, but when it will eventually get done, we'll be able to say that we created the first ever real Terraria Ultramodded mod pack. If you're interested in the project, if you are a Terraria modded developer, if you have more ideas for the mod pack that you want to suggest, and if you want to be part of this crazy project, please join my Discord linked in the description below. There will be a whole section of the server dedicated to the development of the mod pack, where you will be able to drop ideas or ask to be part of the development team. And remember, even if you are not a developer, you can still help us by figuring out the progression. With all of this said, I hope to find you on my Discord so we can work together on this project, and hopefully we'll be able one day to present this mod pack to the whole Terraria community.